tip off for those who are just getting into Game Time. This is where we start winding it up to some trending news, any news or events that are leading away or preview of trends that may come. Big game news that Manny Pacquiao is going to lace up, step in the ring with our man, Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford in June. Yes, this is a fight in the boxing game. I think it's not the one the fans have been wanting. You know, everybody's wanting to see Crawford versus our man Errol Spence. I want to see that. That would be a modern day Hagler. It could be Hagler Leonard, Hagler Hearns. It would be either one of those. But we're gonna get Bud in the ring, which is always good. Anytime you get Bud Crawford in the ring, it's always great. But against Manny, and Manny to me is an X factor for anybody. You posed a question for P-Production that I think is great. What does this do to the welterweight division? And I'm curious to know what your thoughts are.
Well, I think it sets the tone, right? So here's the issue, right? Basically, in the welterweight division, you have the top of the division is Errol Spence and Crawford, in my opinion. I think we agree on that.
We do.
They're head and shoulders above everybody else in the welterweight.
1A, 1B, pick an order.
Right. To me, it's 50-50 with those two. Right. I think Bud can beat Spence. I think Spence can beat Bud. I really do. I think it would be a great fight. Pacquiao is right underneath them, and then you got everybody else, right? In my opinion. Now, you might have some others. I know Jaron Ennis is up and coming. He's been calling out a lot of those guys, and he can go. So, I mean, we'll see. Time will tell with him. But I think what's happening with Spence and Crawford is the power play. They can't get the money figured out. That's why we can't get that fight, right? Spence wants to be the A side. Crawford wants to be, at one time it was 50-50. I think he might want to be the A side if he can be. So there's that power struggle going on. At the end of the day, if Crawford beats Pacquiao, decidedly stops him, you know, I don't think Spence can overlook this fight. And see, at this point, Crawford is being played down to the point to where it's like, well, who's he really fought? Right? That's what people are saying. Who's he really fought? And technically, you could say, okay, I don't know who he's really fought. You know what I mean? But he's dominated him. Whoever he's fought, he's dominated, and I give props to that. I know a fighter well enough to know when I look at somebody, this dude is a fighter.
Right.
Bud is a fighter, man, up and down. So it doesn't matter to me that he hasn't beat a big enough name for somebody else. My thing is, if he beats Pacquiao, like I predict that he will, I think he'll stop Pacquiao. Then you can't overlook him. You cannot overlook him. Pacquiao beat Thurman. Thurman's claiming was the best thing since sliced bread. He's back. He's healthy now. Somebody fight me. Somebody fight me. Okay, well, Pacquiao beat him. So if Crawford,
somebody fight me.
That's how he's acting, man. He's running around talking. He's dropping everybody's name. He's trying to get a fight. He's trying to get a big money fight, and I don't blame him. I mean, it's his livelihood. But yeah, if Bud beats Pacquiao, like I think he will, I think Spence's team and his team, they have to sit down. The matchmaking bodies of boxing have to make the fight. They have to make Bud and Spence. They have to. That's the big.
So you think this fight really sets the table? But to me, because in your question, how does this impact the welterweight division? To me, part of the question is is it shifting things in a way that it shouldn't already be going, and that's really because if you look at rankings, you've got your order that puts Thurman at 4. You have some that put Thurman at 5 with Sean Porter ahead of him. And he also rans after that, Mikey Garcia and others going right behind that, right?
Right.
I look at that list and I say, okay, if Errol Spence's camp said, well, you know, we fought Sean Porter, Bud should fight Sean Porter. I think no, exactly. I don't think there's anybody on that list. And the problem is Manny Pacquiao is an X factor for anybody. and that he gets in the ring with. Because, on any given night, if Manny summons up old Manny and the motor's running and, you just happen to have a rough night before, or you ate wrong or what, man, your conditioning can let you let you down, because Manny's going to keep coming. That is his style. That's what he's been doing. I think if Bud is on his game and Manny's on his game, Manny's going to have a short night. Bud's going to have a short night. And then the conversation happens. I think he and Spence should be 50-50. I think the paper should be 50-50 because I think they're an equal draw on the dollars. I think, Bud has equal marquee appeal because boxing fans know Bud's got a toolkit that's vicious. Now, you could say that the Sean Porter fight, the Mike Garcia fight, and other fights that Earl's had that have been kind of big name. Well, okay. But Bud's fights, but Bud's shown you what he's got. Bud has a toolkit, buddy.
Here's the argument for the A side that from Spence's camp. Spence's pay-per-views have done much better financially than Crawford's have.
Which is part of it. You got to throw that out because Bud fought in Nebraska for so long. Like he only was fighting in Nebraska for the longest, which is hurting his money.
I agree. And it shouldn't play a part. It should be based on talent. But at the end of the day, when you're putting on an event, they're going to say, "Hey, look at what we did on our last 3 pay-per-views. We killed it."
I got you.
And you only did a third. When you do an event, you only do a third of what we do. So why should I give you equal money when I'm generating the bulk of the money? You see what I'm saying?
So what do you think the cut should be then? What do you 60-40?
Well, here's what I heard. I think personally, I'm not mad at 60-40. I'm not mad at 60-40. My thing is take the 60-40, beat them, and you the man if you're Bud, right? So, but here's another model that I heard that made a lot of sense, and I think it was Bob Arum that actually threw out the idea of what they should do. 40-40, winner takes the other 20.
I like this. I like that. I was just about to say I like a winner's purse.
Yeah,
so we'll pay you for the work that night. That's what your guarantee is, and then the winner's purse is what you get if you get the win. Now, I think the issue for boxing, and this would be in my mind if I was a boxer, we've seen a lot of fights where the decision was clear to everybody watching, but the judges find a way to make it a draw. And if I got a winner's purse out there that on a draw I don't win, so you'd have to have a stipulation that if it ends up a draw, then the winner's purse is equally split. Like you'd have to have that clause in there. But if that clause is there, I might be okay with that.
Right. Well, and then you end up 50-50 if it's a draw, and then you run it back because there's going to be a rematch clause in there anyway. Right. Run it back
which is going to be a hit. Which is going to be a hit, no doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. So here's my thing: do you see a way that the welterweight division is so? So let's say you get what you want. You get a Bud stoppage, which leaves the way or paves the way for the fight we want to see with Spence and Crawford. What happens then to Keith one time, Thurman, and Sean Porter, and your boy Ennis, right? What happens to those guys, Mikey Garcia? Are they going to have something to look forward to, or do we get, which would make me happy, do we get one of those as a matchup on the undercard? Can we get a Porter Garcia fight? Can we get a Porter Ennis fight on the undercard?
I think that would be great. I think Ennis Porter or Ennis Garcia in the undercard would be great. Let's see. Let's bring him up. Let's bring Ennis up. Let's see. He's calling out the big dogs. Let's see. Put him on.
Is he ready for that though? I mean, do you think that's the right next step for him?
Yeah, definitely. He can fight. But put him on the stage. See if he can handle the pressure of the lights and still perform. Right. He performs there. Now, okay, he maybe in the next couple of fights he's ready for a Bud or Spence, because I think if Spence beats Crawford, I think Spence will go ahead and move up. His goal is to collect all the belts. Mm-hmm. If he does that, he'll be undisputed in the welterweight division, and he'll move up to probably 154. and start fighting for belts up there. Or I think he ultimately wants to try to fight Canelo or something at maybe 160 or something like that. So
he looks like he can take that with him. He looks like he takes everything with him if he goes up.
yeah,
He doesn't
yeah,
look like he loses that. Like in I think it was a Porter fight that I saw, or it might have been a Garcia fight. After weigh-in, like what he bubbled up to was he looks like his walk-around weight. So
yeah.
it looks like
He's
he
a
could
big welterweight.
easily bring that on with him if he progressed up to 154 or went up to Canelo, who,
Yeah.
I don't know, he might retire at that point. Canelo might look for the exit,
Right.
because that would be a tough loss to take. To have
Yeah.
held it this long, fighting these other guys, and then have to see Earl hungry.
Well, and I'm hoping Canelo will go ahead and fight some real competition, like maybe Charlo, Boo Boo Andre, somebody.
I would love for him to fight Charlo,
I,
but I
I don't
don't
I
think he
don't
will.
I don't know if he'll. I think Charlo can beat Canelo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Charlo can beat Canelo. So we'll just see. But I think the welterweight division it's a shame, man, because it's so packed with talent. They really could have done like a what was that tournament they did? Andre Ward was in it back some years ago.
it was like a
Super
tournament of champions,
Six.
right? Yeah, Super
Like
Six, where
Super
they had
Six
all
tournament.
yeah.
They could have really did something like that, and they had all these guys in their prime. You had Thurman, you had Garcia, Porter, Spence, all these guys before Thurman got hurt or whatever, and they all could have just fought it out. But it's boxing. You got to go through you got to play the games and the politics to get a fight. So